Hello and welcome to this session on Manavotsav. And as I said, that we have been trying this out quite a long time now. That we are trying to capture all the lived experiences around mental health and trying to understand from the narrative that how we can work on it from a research point of view, but also how we can connect with the community locally to kind of help out. And today is going to be a very important session. It's not just going to be a conversation, but at the very end, we are also going to go and screen a very important film that we have screened before as well through South Asian Health Action. However, I believe that the more we see it, the more we learn from it. And we wanted to bring that experience on Manavotsav. And thanks very much to Kirit Mistry, who is the chair and founder of South Asian Health Action, working with the local community in Leicester. And of course, he's got different hats on. So, I'm not going to go into much details of that. But it's been a pleasure to work with you on ground, to see the kind of experiments, the kinds of works that you are doing with the community to empower, to engage the community with your work, but also to kind of think about the discriminations and how we can address the challenges that we have or we face as South Asians in Leicester. So a very warm welcome to you in the studio. And also we have... Thank you. Yeah, thanks for joining us today. And we have got Saroj Patel as well, who is going to share with us today the story. And she's really an influencer, I would say, the way she has, spoke about her experience. I believe that not many of us will have that courage to do it and come forward. And in a way, we are trying to bring out those stories in a more lively manner on screen so that people can understand and see that, they're not in this alone. They have got other people who have accepted the challenge and overcome those challenges through different kinds of supports. So welcome both here. Over to you, Kirit. Are you going to give us a little overview of the work that you're doing?
Sure. Thank you again to Indrani and Manavotsav for hosting this session today. And also it's in a very important time because it's South Asian Heritage Month. So what better to share some of the work we do as a South Asian health charity. So SAHA was set up in 2017, and we set it up because of a couple of reasons. I'm a patient with lived experience of diabetes, but also we were doing a lot of work at the time around organ donation, blood donation, stem cell donation, and I came across some really inspired people who had gone through transplants, family members who have donated or lost somebody and still donated. So that was how I kind of set SAHA up, because we had all these ambassadors. And then when the project's finished with the two hospitals I was working with at the time, we decided that we will set up South Asian Health Action and continue the work and continue working with the ambassadors, because they were the right messengers. They were the right people who share their experiences. Since then, since 4 years on, we've kind of grown, and we've worked in. So firstly, we're a patient carer community-led charity. We work in Leicester is our main focused area, but we also work in Leeds and London, where our ambassadors are based. And our key themes that we've been working on, as I mentioned, is diabetes, kidney disease, organ, blood, stem cell, and mental health. My background is previously I was the Asian drug and alcohol worker in Leicester, so I did that for many years. So I kind of really want to tackle issues of taboo within our community. So at that time, drug and alcohol is still a taboo and still challenging, and we still need to do more work. Mental health, I've been working in mental health. I worked for a mental health charity locally, but also have worked nationally around mental health and in policy as well. We had a race equality mental health program in 2005 to 2010. So trying to influence how race equality has an impact on mental health, and making sure services are delivered in a culturally competent and sensitive way. And we have to still have that same dialogue. But why mental health is important for SAHA and also for our communities is because, again, it's we suffer in silence. We don't reach out for help. We don't want to talk to anybody. Everything has to stay within our four walls. But we realize once it gets, gets to a stage where in crisis, that's when we intend to reach out for help. So that's why mental health is very important to the work that we've done. And I saw that there, we needed to kind of set up a community project around mental health. So we set up in May this year, when it was Mental Health Awareness Week, we set up the South Asian Community Mental Health Ambassador Project. And it was, luckily, we found Dr. Nandini Chakravarti from a consultant psychiatrist in Leicester, who was a trainer for the World Health Organization's mental health gap training, and that was really what inspired me to go reach out to Dr. Nandini, say, look, we want to train some community ambassadors. These are all people who have links with our community, with links with people that need support. What better ways can we train them up on this mental health gap initiative, so that we would be able to do three things. One is to, with the ambassadors, break stigma within our community. Secondly, it's about looking at providing support to people who need that support, whether it's emotional or whether it's just generally somebody to talk to around how they're feeling. And then the third aspect is to handhold and support people who may need to get access to services and signpost them, but acting as like a big brother, big sister kind of scenario, where we don't just give them the telephone number, we actually will provide hand-holding support to enable people to access services. So at the same time, those services are aware that there's somebody supporting them, and they, to ensure that they get their culturally sensitive service. So that's kind of the Community Mental Health Ambassador Project that we established in May. We've trained 18 people from Leicester, all from we've got people who are part of the Mandir, part of the Gurdwara. We've got people who have had, we're fortunate to have Saroj Ben as trained as one of our ambassadors, because again, like you said, Indrani, I was very inspired when I reached out to Saroj Ben a year ago for World Mental Health Awareness. I was really inspired by what Saroj Ben, in terms of her personal journey, but also with the sad tragedy of what happened within the family. So I won't say any more, but the video is worth watching, the film that's been developed. And I was inspired, and who better to get those messages are people who are going through the lived experience. And one last thing I'd like to say is, really, we have to keep talking. We have to get communities to start talking. So people with lived experiences, people who are professionals, people who are generally have access to, who could influence, whether in the family, influence in the community. We have to work collaboratively together, and that's the way we're going to try and address some of the challenges.
There, I think that's very important what you said there. I personally know about your training around the mental health ambassador project, of course, and I was quite fortunate to be part of that. And I believe that the more we do it, the more we are building, at least we have got a team of people working with us on the ground, when we know that if we need to, we can talk to. And that's very important. And at this point, I will actually bring in, Saroj here to kind of, hello, Saroj, how are you today?
I am fine. Thank you for having me. I just want to say thank you to Kirit as well. Obviously, what he said, reflected in what I'm working towards as a mental health ambassador. So thank you to Kirit on that. Just want to say, basically, being a mother, it's, this is the last thing you would really expect. Losing your child through suicide is the hardest thing anyone can get through. And it is really hard to sort of even talk about it. You're going through grievance, you're going through so many things. I just feel like that, your world is ended, yet everyone is moving on still. So things like, that what we feel inside, it was so hard for me to even express it. But I just felt like I'm not going to keep quiet. There is a lot of, things are happening, with the youngsters, the older generations, and everyone's going through a lot of mental health issues, depression and things like that. I just felt it's quite important that we do talk about it, and raising, awareness is, something that has really touched my heart now, because of not only because I've lost my son through it, but I just felt like if I can actually reach out and help others, this is what I'm going to do. Um, Losing my son was, like I said, was the hardest thing. But I've got another child, and I had to look out for her as well as my own well-being too. I've spoken to a few other parents who've lost their child through within the Asian community, and I do understand it was very difficult for them to sort of reach out and things like that. Um, and some of them didn't want to even speak about it, don't want to even sort of like, share their stories. Because obviously when I did approach them saying that, maybe we should, get together and see if we could share our experiences going into communities and talking about it, just to raise awareness. But apparently it was quite difficult for them. I mean, everyone is different. Everyone is, it's up to them how they feel, if they want to share their experience or they don't. But for me, I just felt it is important, because if I can reach out, using my experience while I've lost my, my son, um, it can help another person. It can help a mother. It can help, another parent, or a child, anyone who's going through it. Um, so that's one of the things. I mean, obviously for me, I came from the experience of like, okay, this has happened to me. What do I do? I mean, obviously I couldn't even think at one time. I was sort of really feeling low. I was trying to reach out for help as well, and finding the right help was quite difficult, because being in the Asian community, you don't want to be judged or anything like that. There is a big stigma. Um, I felt I had to go and find quite a few, for counselling sessions for me, until I knew which one was the right one. I went through quite a few, and obviously some of them did help me, some of them did not. So, it's quite hard. So I mean, today, I mean, obviously doing the document, I've done a documentary, a few years back. It's, I mean, I'm really surprised that it's actually sort of taken off, and a lot of people have seen it, and it's an experience, for them to understand what mental health is. And obviously for me, I didn't know my son was going through a lot of depression as much as that. Being a single mom, it's even harder as well. I mean, I came out from my divorce, and obviously it wasn't a healthy divorce. I mean, a healthy marriage. So obviously it affected my children too. So obviously we were all going through all this depression and things like that. And sometimes we couldn't understand, why is this happening? So it's really, really difficult for us, in that sense. But like I said, like everybody said, becoming an ambassador has actually, it's good, because for us, we can actually reach out to many people. And that's what my aim is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Saroj. I think, I can get this sense, like I've been to and I've watched the film, time and again, just to understand myself as well, because it's, being a mother myself as well, I can understand the kind of pain and experience that you have gone through. What do you think was the most thing that you were actually, what was the main thing that you were missing actually when things went that wrong? What was the exact thing that you feel that if that was there, possibly the whole thing would have been a little different?
Um, are you saying after my son has passed away, or obviously
After,
before? After, yeah.
before the incident, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
I mean, every mother would, every parent would probably think that, wish you would reached out to your child more, talk to them. I mean, I was probably doing that anyway, but it's just not. you don't notice little things, sometimes that, your child could sort of, be very quiet for a long period. You think, oh, he's probably going through like, an education, he's going through, a lot of work at university and things like that. So he became a bit quiet as well. So there's little things you did notice, but you didn't actually sort of took it really to that stage. That's because I didn't have no knowledge of mental health, exactly, how a person really feels depressed and things like that. And I'm talking about like 4.5 years ago when I lost my son. I didn't have that much knowledge. I mean, today I can see a lot is opening up within the 4 years. So much has opened up. So I do sort of like feel like I wish I did go back in time, and I feel like, if there were things I could have done, I would have done. But obviously, it was out of my hands.
Yeah, I think that's possibly that's the thing that I want to basically understand is it's not just you as a parent, but it's the environment that actually as a whole contributes to our development and everything, isn't it? So I think it's the kind of support that we need possibly as we grow in schools, and whether that support was there when your child was going through those kind of stages, whether there was support available, which is specifically for, in a more kind of culturally appropriate manner for children of South Asian background, if that is possible, because if that was there at all. So these are some of the questions I believe that it's still relevant today, because as Kirit was mentioning before as well, and today we have got also Kiriti Soni. She is joining us in the studio as well, and she is here. So a very warm welcome to you, Kiriti, here in the studio. She's a psychotherapist, and she's also the founder of the COVID-19 mental health support. And we will come to you in a minute as well. We're just trying to build that conversation around Saroj, and we're trying to understand, what went wrong. So it would be really good if we all can come in at some point once we have captured, Saroj and her version of what happened and everything, because it's important. We're trying to learn what kind of support we need to build within the society. So, so over to you, Saroj, again. That what was your feelings when you suddenly experienced, or when you suddenly came to know about that your son was going through those kind of thoughts? And of course there was this feeling of guilt that you were mentioning before, but it's not just that, it was something else. Possibly you were thinking about your life as well at that point of time, although you have got 2 kids. What was the exact feeling that or the nature?
Sorry, you're cutting off a little bit.
I'm cutting off, isn't it? Yes, I felt like I'm cutting off. Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that, what kind of not experience, but how did you feel when the traumatic incident happened? And, what was because it was also your life, it was you where you had that responsibility, but also you have your own life as well. So what were the kind of thoughts? What were the, how did you navigate through that? Because you have been really very nice and powerful, and I think it would be a good kind of story that possibly we can all learn from as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I have a lot of people. They do ask me that, why are you such a strong person now? And obviously, the stage is what you've actually went through. How did you build up being that strong? Believe me, I wasn't strong at all. I was sort of feeling really lowest to whatever I could, the lowest stage. I felt like, that why am I living and things like that. Obviously, your mind sort of, you've lost a child and you think, right, I don't want to think about anything else. Why am I still here? But then I had to also think about my other child too. And you know what? I could see her also feeling depressed as well. So I thought to myself, no. I had friends, close friends, I had families. Luckily, they've spoken to me. They said, look, Sarah, you really need to sort of, understand. I know he's not going to come back here, but you've got another child here. She's living and she needs a life as well. And so do you. You need to be, looking after yourself. Believe me, for me, I went through so many stages. Like I said, obviously counselling for me and my daughter. I even did a career change. I couldn't work in the office anymore, so I just thought to myself, no, I've got to find something else. I started doing volunteering work, and when I started doing volunteering work, I saw a lot of things that in life that needed my help, and actually getting more inspiration, and that means like working with the elderly, working with disability children, working with young mothers with young children. So, I saw a lot of things that um, that was very vulnerable for me to sort of go out and reach out. They need me as well, and I felt this is probably what my son will probably want me to do, and I think that helped me quite a lot. Sort of, just sort of, counseling myself as well and trying to make myself more stronger. And this is where I am today. I do feel strong. I try to, not see the negativeness in life. I see more positive. I like being around positive people. I like being, see if I can change things around so much. And through this, my daughter has also seen how I've actually come, this far. She's become herself more positive, more stronger, more able to sort of, reach out, speak out. Before, believe me, she was a very quiet child. She actually, after the trauma, it was very difficult for her. Her education wasn't, she couldn't just even concentrate. She couldn't even sit on the exams and things. She had to retake things again. But today, like when I see my daughter now, she's got a whole career in front of her. She loves doing things like when I actually take part in mental health, she likes taking part, either sitting in or listening or sort of, helping me to sort of, suggest things, what we could do, what we could, reach out. It's small little things. And believe me, every little thing does count. Um, because I just feel that, you just have to become stronger. I could choose two paths. There was two paths for me. Like I always say, I could go into just being, grievance all my life, or I choose a path where I can actually help somebody and, sort of help myself and my daughter. And that's the path I've chosen. And if I can reach out, that's where I am here today.
That's really powerful and wonderful as well, and I think that's the kind of story or influence that we want to basically bring forward as well, which is kind of lacking from a South Asian perspective. Also, I was thinking that, would you say, because you mentioned about counseling, would you say that counseling helps? Because, that there is a general sort of stigma attached to mental health anyways within the South Asian community. And then when it comes to counseling, then it's very much like, well, I don't need to. I mean, if counseling is not something that's going to actually help me, if I need some help, well, of course, I mean, that's a kind of a medical help like they seek for, like if they are not feeling well. What would you say? Like, did you?
I think. Yeah, it was for me finding the right counselling. I went to the doctors. They suggested some counselling. I had to go from one counselling to another, and I'm talking about different organisations until I knew which one was right. There was one that actually sort of, did help me, did sort of, help me to sort of, to move forward rather than just stay in one place. And I think that I mean that counselling actually I didn't attend on my own. I also attended with my daughter too. Like it was like a support group. We would talk and things like that. And then the teenagers would go into a different room and they would do a little talk as well, because they also had the same experience, what, either losing someone, either their sibling or their parents or something like that. So you just have to find the right counselling. And believe me, it's not a shame to go to the doctors to ask for help, because I really feel that it would help you if you do reach out, because at the end of the day you do need that help. But it's just a matter of finding the right counselling. So it's everyone varies differently. I mean, obviously everyone's different. So
yeah, and I think at this point I will bring in Kirit as well. What has been your experience within the community? Because I know that you have been doing the training, you've taken the training initiative, but also you've worked more closely with Saroj as well, and you've learned a lot from it, and you're trying to feed that back into the system. So would like to definitely hear from you now, and yeah.
Firstly, as I said, since meeting Saroj Ben, that's been an inspiration, because that's the story that she's gone through, the experience, and also reaching out. And it's not it's what she's doing now, in terms of a lot of people. She can help people who are going through some of the issues that she's gone through. That's why it's really powerful that we need to have more people coming forward to share their story and talk. I know it's hard for some people, but Saroj Ben has been very brave, and also that's been for me, that's helped me in terms of the work I do in the community, is because it's not professionals. As counselling is two things. One is counselling is it's got to be right for you at the right time, and we've got Kiriti Ben here anyway, so she can touch the professional element. But for me, I've always thrived on providing a responsive service. I don't want to hear that we've got waiting lists. I don't want to hear some people who've taken the courage, particularly from our communities, taken the courage to reach out for help. The last thing they want to hear is we don't have any appointments, or we can't see you for another 2 weeks, etc. That's for me. That's why the Ambassador Project is very important, because we are the first point of contact, could be the real lifeline for some people who are going through the challenges, the issues that Saroj Ben have identified. There are people, Saroj Ben's identified mental health, but there's other, within the lockdown, since working in mental health, we've seen an increase of domestic abuse. We've also seen, the perpetrator being there with their family, and obviously the person who's being the victim can't go anywhere. So I think these are the kind of things that we've had to address within the lockdown. But I think what we need to do is counselling. When I've tried to find people the right counselling, I work on three things. One is what would they like? It's their choice. So would they prefer a female? Would they prefer somebody from their own background? Is the first starting point. And then the next bit is about what areas of counselling do they need, and is that counsellor experienced? I wouldn't say qualified, because qualification is one thing, but experience to deal and help people through trauma, through various abuse, so it's finding the right counsellor for that person to actually help them go through what they've been through, and helping them go, support them with that. That's for me. That's the key things I've done when I've tried to find suitable counsellors. I've done it on the basis of language. So somebody who don't speak English needed their own language specific counselling, and not using interpreters. I've tried to find a counsellor with that cultural background, with that language skill, to be able to build that relationship. And sometimes, counselling is therapy is one thing, but counselling is about relationship building. And that person, you've got to be able to connect with that person in order to then be able to share what you've gone through. And sometimes it may take, if you have no rapport with that person, if you don't feel anything from that person, then it's going to waste your time, and you're not going to be able to achieve, help deal with what you've gone through. So I think that's the thing I'd like to say about counselling. And I think one other thing I'd like to say is that, look, the services for children and young people, we know that the NHS services have, the children adolescent mental health services have big waiting lists. I've supported people whose children needing really needing mental health support but couldn't access it, so we had to provide them the support within the community, and that's how we've had to do it, because we know that the waiting lists and the barriers that they've got to go through to get support and service, any kind of service. Tragically, obviously, we've heard what's gone through with Saroj family and her son. So if we can avoid, if we can intervene, and early intervention is very key, and if we can start doing more working with collaboration with the services, with the NHS, we've got to tailor the services to meet cultural needs, to meet young people's needs, and it's got to be delivered in the community. It can't be, I think we've got to start having more services in our community, whether it's, satellite services in mosques, temples, gurdwaras, whether it's community centres, or even the GP practices. That's where we need to have those kind of services and break down the institutional barriers that exist. And we're just at the moment, it's a good time to mention that we're actually, South Asian Health Action have been asked to work with the NHS in Leicester to actually consult with South Asian community on our current mental health services. What do people know about the services, and what would they like to see in the future? And are the services currently culturally sensitive to meet the diverse population of Leicester? And we're doing some really fantastic consultation. We had a great session last night where we targeted South Asian women, Gujarati speaking, and we had 125 people attend that Zoom session to hear from the NHS and to speak, and it was delivered in Gujarati as well. So that way, and it was only for women, and the feedback we got from that will help shape the future services that our communities need. So I think it's I'm just inspired every time I meet people who, like Saroj Ben, like we've got Sandeep as well. We've got others in our team of community ambassadors, all touch people in ways that when they meet them, it's like super glue. You can't kind of disconnect yourself from that, because once you're connected, you can't get away. And I think that's why having these community ambassadors in the community is got to be the way forward, and we have to have more of them trained across the country, really.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the point where I would like to bring in Kiriti Soni. She has joined us, and possibly she has got more experience to share on this point, but also if you give us a little bit of a background and what you have done, and I know that you've been the founder of the mental health support during the COVID time. So if you can give us an idea about what you have experienced, what has led you to form this kind of platform, and and where you are at the moment on that.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you, and Dr. Indrani, for inviting me on to this amazing talk. It's absolutely vital. We all need this in the community because our people are suffering. I don't like to talk in terms of our people and other people, but we have been a little bit on the back foot in mental health support for our communities, and I'm really glad that we're there now. It's there, it's out in front, and we're providing it. Saroj, Ben, an absolute privilege and honor to be on the same platform as you again. We did the radio talk show together, and that was the first time I heard you speak, and I was left for words. Everybody will tell you that I can talk for England, or probably I could talk for England and India, and we live in Abu Dhabi. So anybody in those places will say to you that Kiriti can talk for England, India, and Abu Dhabi. But having heard you talk, I was absolutely left for words, and so much respect for how you have held yourself through what can be just every parent's worst nightmare. You've held yourself through it, you've held your daughter through it, and now you're going forward and providing others who may be suffering either the same or similar or other circumstances, with their young people, but you're giving them, you're like that candle in the darkness. You're giving them some light. You're able to put your pain and everything to one side, and you're able to form it into a strength and go forward. And that is absolutely amazing. So hats off to you. You're just absolutely amazing. And I keep telling people this, keep saying, look up Saroj Patel. Every time somebody's feeling a little bit down or something, I give them a little anecdote of your story. So thank you very much for sharing the platform and sharing everything with us again, so we can continue to give people that little ray of hope through their darkness.
Definitely, I agree. Definitely, thank you.
Yes, and I hope you're going to join us in doing other things now. I hope you'll come on to COVID-19 mental health support, which was set up. It was set up in the wake of the COVID-19 starting, and that was in last March. So it was set up right at the beginning. And we're a team of counsellors and therapists who set up immediately when the Grenfell Tower fire happened, because even when the fire happened, the NHS was ready with bandages and things for people who had burns and smoke inhalation and physical symptoms, but there wasn't a mental health unit there for people who were just, wandering around in a daze and traumatized. And so the same way we set up this COVID-19 mental health support, because we recognize the same thing happening again, that there are traumatized people and there isn't the mental health support. So again, we just set it up overnight on the roof, bunch of, trauma therapists, psychologists, experts, medical experts in every field, and you'll see on our directory, we have all these amazing people who are giving their services for free. They have been giving their services for free from day one, and still to this day they do that. And the group has attracted people seeking advice from New York, from Australia, from Japan, from China. So it ended up running 24/7 because of the different time zones. We could get a call out from somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, I'm trapped in my apartment block in New York because of the lockdown. I haven't seen anyone for this long. I've got claustrophobia. I've got this. I've got that. So they're experiencing all those symptoms, and luckily, because of the way our support group is set up, there'll always be somebody available to respond to them. But that's just all only COVID-19. And then, if we think about, all of us are surviving much more than COVID-19. There's so much more we're surviving. I do a lot of work with universities, the youngsters, apart from surviving all that COVID-19 has brought them, so many of them stuck in their student accommodation, again feeling claustrophobic, again feeling like I'm trapped in this place, to all the usual things, the exam stress, the stress to deliver assignments, the thesis, and no access to campuses, no social life. So that's all with the young people and the work that I do with universities. And then coming back again to our community, the Asian community, where say somebody's experiencing domestic abuse in the home. Typically, with our South Asian communities, what do? We cover it up. We don't tell people. We don't talk about it. We keep up the family name. We keep up our partner's reputation. All these kind of things. So all of that was chugging along in normal life anyway, because with all the best services that are available in England, Scotland, and Wales, our communities were still not availing of them. And I don't just mean women. I mean men as well, because even men have experienced domestic abuse, but they weren't availing any of the services available because the pressure and the stigma attached to it in our community is so hard. So reaching out to all these people, and during COVID, so many campaigns and so many reach outs, so many webinars, the way Kirit does, all these things, webinars, radio talk shows, all these things that Kirit has done is helping us to gently seep out into the community and gently get to the people who need it and give them the strength. Because what we're trying to do is empower them and give them the strength to say, we're here, we can hold your hand, we can show you that there's hope, there's help out there. And that's what I was saying to Saroj then, that every time you speak, somebody out there will be listening to you and feeling, okay, I can do this. And that's why these kind of talks and webinars and radio shows and everything that Kirit does is just so vital to get our communities the help that they need. Sorry, I've talked for so long.
And I think that's the I think that's the thing. I mean, I would open this conversation now to everyone. What you said there is very important, because what we have also seen that during this COVID time, people have incredibly, like, they have taken up hobbies, new kind of creative arts and all of that to kind of stay strong, stay connected, and we are doing some kind of workshops as well. But I think overall, the stories are very powerful because they are very personal. Like I did see a comment as well. I did run that on the screen, and someone wants to reach out to Saroj Ben there as well. And I think that these are the connections that actually works, like where people understand from a lived experience and get that support. Over to you, Kirit, now, if you have got anything to bring in at that point as well.
No, I think I'm privileged to have known Kiriti Ben for a while. In before mental health, we've been doing a lot of work on organ donation, and Kiriti Ben's also set up her own organ donation awareness program as well in London and wider. So, and I'm fortunate to obviously have now met you, Indrani, because you bring another breath of fresh air, because obviously with your expertise, the skill sets, it's bringing these skills together for us to work very closely. And look, it doesn't matter whether we have PhDs or masters, or it's about what we can do for our community. And that's what we're about. We're all about, we've got the same, our value is about working for our communities and making sure that people don't suffer, whether it's, it's from a patient point of view, or whether it's from a professional, or even whether from somebody who's been affected as well. So I think that's my kind of final message really, is that let's utilize our skills like we're doing. Let's get more people in the community, at least trained to that community ambassador level, so that at least when people do approach them, they know what's available in their locality, what they can do, what support they can offer. And most importantly, it's about, we have to change the way the services operate. The services are not fit for purpose in terms of meeting our needs. So we've got to work with the services, we've got to work with the NHS to make it fit for purpose. And the only way we can do that is we also need to get some of our younger generation to start thinking about coming into the field of counselling, because again, it's still very much not many of our communities are coming forward to become counsellors. I know when I trained as a drug and alcohol counsellor, my father used to tell everyone, I'm a pharmacist. I said, I'm not a pharmacist. I'm raised awareness about drug and alcohol. But he said, no, you do, it's medication, so you're a pharmacist. So it's still, we've got to tackle some of the status in our communities. But if we can encourage, more, and I think before I left the last organisation, I managed to secure 4 children and young people's psychological wellbeing practitioner posts, trainee posts for BME communities. So hopefully we can have more of these posts in schools like Saroj Ben said, that will be working and supporting our children, our future generations, because they, at the moment, the mental health support services in schools is very much needed, and more resources are being put in. But we need to have people that look like us from our communities engaging with those kids as well. So I'm going to stop there, but I really want to thank you for putting this show together, this program, to raise awareness. We've got to keep having conversation like this and keep the message going. And thanks again to Saroj Ben, because she's the inspiration as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that through Manavutsa, we are also trying to bring the different kinds of people together with their expertise, and we want to build Leicester, but also, because of the COVID, the pandemic time, we have learned that there have been these kind of problems and challenges that needs to be addressed, and that's what we are also trying to do. And of course, De Montfort University is now, of course, they're planning to work very closely with the community, which is again going to be a good thing to do in the future. So thank you all for joining us. And I think that what we will do from now is to stay in touch, work together, and look into scopes to expand the service where we can go in, and there is no, as you said, Kirit, there is no limit from where you can learn. It's just doesn't have to be always university. People have got lived experiences. People caring for other people are actually trained as carers later on as well, and they are delivering that on spot. So it's not, institutional education, but it's actually from our lives. What we learn matters the most, because that's how we can bring in the change. So yeah, that's just very powerful.
One quick thing, I think what you just said, because of what we started in Leicester in terms of the South Asian Community Mental Health Ambassadors, we've been approached by Hindu Council UK, who now we're doing a training for Hindu temples, priests, etc., to become community well-being, ambassadors, because they're going to get the training. And Dr. Nandini is going to run a special program just for Hindu organizations, so that they have that resource in their communities as well. So we're going to do that. So we're building just by a simple initiative that we've taken. We've got passionate people coming forward. So thank you. And I think, we've got to keep doing it. So thank you.
That's fantastic. Yes. And anything you want to add, Kirti Ben? There?
Can't think of anything. I would just say that, as Kirit said, that it isn't about formally qualified people. It's about people who feel, people who think, people who have empathy, and people that someone can connect to. And in that time when a person is the most traumatized, when they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, when they can only see darkness and they're in their darkest hour, they want someone not with a PhD in psychology or something necessarily. They want someone who has got the humanitarian values. And if you have got those humanitarian values, if you're one of those people that says, oh, people always come and talk to me about their troubles, oh, people always come and talk to me, contact Kirit, sign up as one of his ambassadors, because you have got the skills to be that light for somebody, to be that candle for somebody. So that's all I would add.
Absolutely. Thank you. Wonderful. Saroj Ben, if you want to come in and add before we move on to the screening.
Yeah, I just totally agree with what Kiriti Ben just said. We do need a lot of ambassadors. So obviously, it's just a good thing that what we do as a community, giving back to the community, if it's helping somebody, then it's brilliant. So definitely. And also just to say that, to be positive and, always, like you said, Kiriti Ben, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's how I see it. So,
that's wonderful. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio today. And let's go on to watch the film, which is called A Diary to My Son. And I'm going to share my screen. So before that, we will all come out of the studio at the moment. So let me do that first?
To a road, a busy road. I just felt like I wanted to end my life because I just couldn't continue. I was really, really mentally affected. But just then, I don't know what happened. Someone out of the car really sort of horned really loud. I didn't even cross the road, but it's just sort of got my attention. What am I doing? Why am I here? What about my children? What's going to happen afterwards? And I knew I had to stop myself. One day, I think it just got really enough that, it just happened again, the physical, and I just had to call the police just to escort him away. And I knew that that was the end of my marriage. It was Easter Sunday, 16th of April 2017. My son decided to take his own life. Being a single mom, it's not easy, but having your child saying that, you know, Mom, you're not a mom alone. You're a father, you're a brother, you're a sister, and a best friend. Means the world to me. I know I'm doing something right. What hurts is that if I'm all these things for Sapna, it shouldn't have been the reason for my son to leave either, because I know he loved us. Even the day he decided to take his life, he was so organized. He left everything, like instructions, his passwords, his details of what everything should be. He didn't want us to feel like, you know, we won't be able to manage. Even in his suicide notes, he kept on saying, Mom, please don't blame yourself. I'm so sorry. He's written to someone saying, you're so beautiful and I'm going to be with you always, and that's my promise. I think it's been very difficult for us. It's a journey, but it's not. Seeing his dad abusing me, he found that very difficult to understand, and he couldn't be able to stop what was happening. I think he was hurting inside himself a lot. He himself experienced bullying when he was in a primary school. And then sort of like, you know, seeing the separation that's happened, and then suddenly a hardship of, you know, financially we suffered after the separation of the marriage. I think my son, I think we all actually, so that we were all stressed. We just weren't coping well.
My parents split up, and I felt weak and I lost myself all the time. I broke up, like felt down. And in high school, I was bullied, so I changed schools. And guess what happened? My brother passed away. I just want to be alone, not socializing. I'm finding it difficult for my studying. Firstly, I don't address him to my dad. He failed to support me, and I started hating him. I was crossing down the street. It was early morning, and I just don't really care if I was like
crossing dangerously. That's what you said to me.
Yeah. And I just still walked on, and yeah.
I think I was really shocked when you actually came and told me. This is a couple of days she told me, she goes, Mom, I did something silly. And she said to me, I did crossing this road dangerously without looking at if there's cars coming or not. My world broke down. I thought, oh my God. She spoke to me. She said to me, Mom, I'm having these thoughts. I want to self-harm. And I said, what do you mean by self-harm? She goes, I want to cut my arms. I was so devastated when she said that. I just felt like I was shocked. But I know that she needed me, so I said, we're going to seek help. So we spoke to your school, we spoke to the doctors, we spoke to counselling, and we all worked as a team. I've got to be a stronger person here. Forget about my depression. Let's just focus on her. And I had to be that person to help her. But as a mother, I would do that. But you need to get this fear out of you. Like you said, you will never leave me. And I've kept my promise to you. I want you to keep your promise to me. I was suffering a lot of anxiety after my son passed away. I couldn't go back to work, so I stopped work completely. I think stress was just coming on. When Sam naturally went back to school, it was difficult for her. She couldn't socialize. I think we were afraid to go out, even though I had medication for antidepressant. It's so difficult because you don't feel the same, and your emotional just it's all mixed up. Financially wise, my family did help me a little, but it wasn't enough. I still feel like financially wise, I was really unstable and felt embarrassed asking, for more handouts. Came to a time that I had to go back into work, but I was just too scared. So I started doing some voluntary work. And I think that's helped me to go into doing part-time work.
There's mixed emotions that I'm feeling: angry, sad, upset, anxiety the most. And it's really hard to focus on my studying, and it affected my studying as well.
We talk a lot. I think that's definitely have to be as priority number one. When the time my son passed away, she was really scared. She wouldn't go up or down the stairs. She was afraid because that's the scenery, that's where it happened. We both didn't see it, but it's you sometimes visualize and imagine, and I think that's what scared Sapna a lot. So I decided, I said, no, I've got to do something. So I decided to draw on the staircase wall. Started off, and then it just continued. And I think Sapna started liking what I was drawing. And I think with that, she started getting more confident going up and down the stairs. So it's helped us in that way. And now when we go up and down the stairs, we always look at this painting on the wall, because it's like something magical, something spiritual.
And it takes my mind away from that.
So it's helped us that way. I think also for me, it's, you've seen me, I've started writing a diary for my son. I find that this is the only way I can communicate with him. I know you sort of communicate with him, with Sadil's friends, through photographs in his room. But for me, I feel like if I write this diary, it's like I'm talking to him, I'm speaking to him, I'm asking him questions. And I'll probably hear his voice answering back to me. So I really feel strongly that this diary is very important for me. By the staircase, we've got candles, 3 candles. They're actually on the feather plate. And those 3 feather plates resembles us 3. That's where I lost my son. When he decided to take his life, I feel that spiritually he's left there. His eyes closed there. That was the last time he saw this world.
Do you remember your 14th birthday that Shekul made a voice recorder? Do you want to hear it?
say 40 is the old age of youth. However, with youth never dies. You always find new ways to invent fun in many spontaneous ways. The best thing about the future is that they come one day at a time, and we all know throughout each of those days, you've given us the best memories that we can cherish until our last breath. Mom, we may argue, but at the end of the day, I love you. Everyone is here for you on your special day. Don't let anyone bring you down. Keep that smile on your face, and you always look 21.
Oh my God. Do you remember yours?
Oh yeah.
Let's hear that.
Hi, Mummy, you're getting old now, and I have to take care of you, okay? I will always love you and take care of you. I will help you open your presents, Mom, and if it's pink, it's mine, okay? Happy birthday, Mom. I love you. You're the best.
Oh, I love you, baby.
Love you too. One of my best one is he came home to surprise me, and the one he surprised me was the Lego movie game, and I was so happy and excited. So we played that game and we bonded in this game, and I loved it so much. That was my best.
Do you know, we had really good times with him. We used to do lots of barbecues here as well.
Yeah, I still remember the days. There was like all cousins going around, and we had fun. Remember this one here? Shane pushed me off here.
You succeeded.
No.
Yes.
Excuse me. I almost fell down.
Yeah, but you know that he's going to hold on to you anyway. Oh, this is a time when I did this to your hair, and then he said to me, "No, Mom, can you do my hair just like Sapna?" And I said, "Oh, okay." See, look like a real girl there. I remember this picture. You two were trying to push me off.
Yeah, I remember that bit. That was so funny.
Oh God, memories. Look at that. Oh right.
Yeah, that was my best picture.
Hold on, who are these?
Facebook.
Oh God, you and your face swap. I think the strong opinion about him that his star sign being a Taurus, he really had strong opinions on like proving to the point. He was really like interested in maths and physics. I could say he loved engineering
and building stuff.
He really loved building things. He was a character that, a really fun-loving person.
Basically, this was my birthday, sweet 16th birthday. A gift from my brother's friend.
It's just a little voice captured in this monkey, and it's special for us. We did get actually emotional.
I got emotional, and it all spread it around to other people.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Everyone is here for you on your special day. Anyone bring you down. Keep that smile on your face.
You were and still my hero. I love you and I miss you. It wasn't your time to go.
The biggest impact in my life now is to educate myself and my daughter, to contribute positively to the world.
If I was compared to my mum and dad, my dad is not in the picture, but my mum is my mum, my father, my sister, my brother, and my best friend, and she's my world.
Oh, thanks. I just asked God to protect my children always, but I think I lost that faith now. He took away my world. I'd like to thank my son for choosing me to be his mother. It's the best gift given to me. Not even death can take this away from me. We started getting involved with a charity, Walking Out of Darkness. It's related to mental health and suicide. we don't do it alone. We've got family and friends who join us on this walk. It's a 10-mile walk we carry out once every year.
My sister's son, Sadil, passed away. It's his birthday today, and for us, we want to support my sister. We want to support the charity, the cause, we want to mark the statement, for his birthday, and just make people aware about this issue. My cousin's birthday, he would have been 22 today, and I just feel that I've been here for the past 3 occasions, and I want to carry on coming to show that that there is this illness that is basically happening, and just because you can't show the physical deformities, the illness is still there. A lot of people suffer from this, and I was shocked after my cousin's death back in 2017 to learn that basically it's the top killer among men under 45, and it's just changed my life really. Just really felt that I needed to support the cause.
The friends, who he's actually connected with, they haven't broken that bond with me and Sapna. And we feel like, so sort of walk in, it feels like they're my children. And it's just a wonderful feeling. As a mother, I would do the same, I wouldn't let them. We used to walk around this woodland, and we used to run, try to race each other, and I think those were the best moments. Try to recapture the memories that we shared with him there. I think with Sapna, because she wants to go into sports, she's trying to train me to run and try to keep me fit and healthy. It's not working, but slowly. I think going to that park is having that full of memories still, and trying to keep that bond. It's helped us through therapy as well. I think another way I try to keep his memory alive is when I'm alone at home, I get his aftershave and I spray just in the room so I could just smell his presence. I'm so attached to one of his jumpers. I would hug that jumper. I would have music on, and I would just sort of dance with him, that jumper hugging me. I don't want to forget him, because he's my baby boy. I just want his memories to be alive. I don't want to forget him. I don't want anyone to forget him. I'll probably end up doing silly things like, play his music, or, I've even read a book. It's a storybook that I've kept, Peter Rabbit's. And I read to him. I sing him a lullaby. I do cry alone. But it's just my way of saying that, I love him. And I will always do. If he came in front of me, I wouldn't let him go. Because it wasn't his time to go. His probably realised he's made a mistake, and he's just thought, you know, he was needed.
I will hug him. I will miss him. A father is supposed to be but one man in your life that will never hurt you. Don't make the same mistake as my father did.
I will grieve forever, but you have a choice to learn and understand mental health. I think talking and discussing regularly to your child is very important. It's also important around family and communities. So let's be open and don't judge anyone or let anyone judge you.
Yeah, so whenever we come here, it's not like he's gone, he's still here with us, and we're still communicating with him, and we can still feel his presence. So it's nice being here, feel relaxed, and we don't feel like he's missing out. He's still here with us, sharing the memories with us.
Sadil was a very beautiful man. I'm going to go on record and say that he was. Yeah, he was really handsome. I'm not going to lie. He was a very friendly person. When we first met him, everyone seemed to have loved him from the start. When I first met him, I was in year 7 in primary school in Harrow. We used to miss him a lot. I mean, he's not here, obviously, but we would like him here, obviously. But so we do miss him a lot, which is obviously breaks our heart that he's not here.
He never showed any signs of it. Whenever he entered the room, he was laughing. He was making everyone else laugh. Like, as soon as he came into the room, you had that atmosphere of it's time to party kind of thing because he was here. But like, just even talking to him, he was never like down, sad. He would make us happy when we're like that. But we all had it in our back of our heads. We knew about mental health, but with him, nothing really came of it. Thinking he was that kind of down inside, really.
Make you laugh, make you smile, flirt with you. So he would flirt with anyone, like one of us, one of them, one of them.
Boys as well.
He just to make that person laugh, he would do that. Just go that extra mile. You wouldn't expect to see. You wouldn't expect
what are you
it to happen.
doing?
And like Taz said, it is in the Asian community. It's not there. You don't see depression or mental health. It's kind of hidden away. Whereas now, it doesn't happen. We're all more aware of it. If we see the signs for it, we want to help other people, and we want other people to know that there is help out there for you.
We often come here even just to like spend time with Sapna. Like, we make her laugh. We come and we do the exact same thing that we were doing with Sadil, but now with her, like, she's become our little sister. Like he was our brother. She's now like a part of our friendship group, and it's just really nice. Like, she's his mini me, and we see that like she does things that he does, and like it's just really nice like remembering that. And even in this room, it's just, oh my gosh, she just made that face that he just had, kind of thing.
I agree. Yeah, she laughed last month, and she looked exactly like Sadil. That's how I was happy when I saw that.
Just main thing is not to keep it in. Let it out somewhere, even if it's a stranger on the road. Go speak to them, because you never know, that stranger might be able to help you in one way or another. So yeah, just don't keep it in. Speak to someone. That's the main message.
Because you've got friends and family everywhere that you can speak to, and although it is a taboo subject with the Asian community, you should be able to talk to your mum or your father or your siblings about it. I still go around thinking about him every day. It was worse when it was close to his date of death. I would always look on my phone and think about calling him, because I'd call him a lot. I'd talk to him a lot. I'd ask him what's happening in his life. And even nowadays, I think, I want to go out. But then, it hits me like when I've just opened my phone and I realize that he's not there anymore.
Yeah. Wow, look at this, guys. Oh, wow. Come on, Sadil, take it.
That 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, perfect. Oh, that is so cool. Even the stars are up tonight. Look at it. It's so cool, right? Bye. Should we go up? So go, take it. Yeah, go up. Love you, dear girl. Miss you.
Thank you for all your support.
We're always here for you. You know that. Anytime. You know we're always here for you.
Hi. Well, thank you very much. It's so, as I said, like every time I watch it, it's still new to me, and it's like, the words, the things that we've gone through, the emotions, and particularly your daughter. I mean, all together, and you must be a proud mom, in that regard. She has stayed strong with you as well. Possibly got lots of influences and strength from you. So it's wonderful, and thank you very much for sharing the story and taking us through it as well.
Thank you. It means quite a lot. I mean, just looking at the video, looking at my son's friends, apparently they've just walked in and they're upstairs with my daughter as well. So that's how close his friends have been. They've always sort of been that support for us. They've never let us down. They've never sort of they've always been there for me and my daughter. So proud of his friends as well for us. And I think that's what it is. You need positive people around you to move on. So, and thank you to everyone, especially to Kirit as well, giving me a platform, to do this, and also to Maya, who actually did the documentary. It was really scary at first, but I'm so glad we've actually reached out to many, and we hope to reach out to many as well. Thank you.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing the story again, and thanks for joining us in the studio. Thanks to all of our audience for staying with us today as well. And so we will connect again tomorrow. So tomorrow we are doing some arts workshops. So Ben, if you want to join us as well, feel free to. I saw the wonderful paintings, the murals that you did on the wall. It's wonderful. It's really beautiful and inspirational again. So thank you again.